Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to look at what is IT system, the important component in IT system to understand what is IT system all about. Okay, so IT system is all about a set of interrelated component. So IT system help us to collect, process, store and distribute information. IT system also, like what we have seen in many other sessions, support decision making, coordination, control and many other features. Okay, that is basically what is all about IT system. It has a set of interrelated components which we will go through one by one, yeah, in a coming slide. What are the interrelated component, how we can make use of this interrelated component in order to gather data, analyze the data, process it, transforming data into meaningful information, store it accordingly in a digital format, and we distribute, yeah, either in the form of real time, on the spot, or in the form of reports. Moving on, let's try to understand what is the difference between information and data. Data, as we know, are streams of raw facts, or we call it unprocessed data, yeah, unprocessed facts. Unprocessed facts, we call it data. Yeah, whereas information is data shaped into meaningful form, or we call it processed facts, is what we call information. So that is the difference between data and information. Data are raw facts, whereas information is a processed fact, or information is data shaped into meaningful. So when data become meaningful, useful to us, we call it information. So as you can see in the next slide, data is on your left hand side. All could be, numbers and some sentences with some numbers. Again, we don't understand what it's all about. It is not meaningful, even though we can read them, we can identify, but it is not meaningful, it is not useful to us. Through the information system, IT system, we process it accordingly as per the requirement. We turn it into information, into meaningful data or meaningful facts, such as item number is 331, and then sales region is Northwest. We store it in superstore number 122, for example, and then the description is bright dish soap, and number of units sold is 7156, and so on. So when you have processed it, analyze it and present it in a proper manner, in a meaningful manner, we call that information. Yeah, I think we all are quite aware of all this as of now. With that, let's move on and take a look at three main activities that IT system produce in any organization. These three basic activities are such as, number one, the first is what we call input, captures raw data from organization or external environment. So this is what we do, or this is what our staff do on daily basis, where the input data will be captured through many ways, various ways. There are almost 20 to 30 different ways of capturing data today. Not just through the keyboard, data can come in any format. It can come in video, audio, pictures, voice, or even figures, yeah. So not like those days. Today the data can come in any format. So that's the reason why we have 20 to 30 different methods or various method of capturing input data. So once we have all this input data, what we to do next is processing, which is basically converting raw data into meaningful form. So data will become information. And once we have the information, we have to output it. We need to generate output or reports or any other forms of output data. Basically what we are doing is transferring process information to people or activities that use it. So these are the three main activities that is happening in any IT system for any organization. Along that, the three main activities, we also do provide IT system with the capability to provide feedback or to include feedback or even to accept or to feed in feedback back into the system. That means output returned to appropriate members of organization to help evaluate or correct input stage, right? So because it's a one complete process, input, processing and output, definitely we need some feedback back into the system so that we can continuously improve the system. All right, so that's how the activities are involved in or within IT system. So let's take a look at what is computer program versus information system. Computers, or today we call it devices, devices, because those days we only have computers, but today we don't call just computers alone because we have all kind of devices, smart devices such as your handphone, even your TV, high-end TV is smart TV, smart fridge, smart vacuum cleaner, smart aircon, everything becomes smart, and everything is equipped with some kind of software or programs or firmware. So we call all this, or the proper term today that we are using within IT is what we call devices. So computer and computer program. Computer is just similar to any other device, and computer program is basically a software with technical capabilities, with technical features or capabilities in order to do certain tasks, very specific tasks. For example, to accept input, to process the input, to generate output, to do calculation, to do very specific job. That is what we call software to do a certain function or features within the system. Similar to the materials and tool used to build a house, for example, that is software. Whereas information is the overall system, which consists not only the devices and the software, but lot more, many more features, many more components, many more interrelated components, which we will see later. Just to share with you, if you start asking me what are other components beside the computers, or we call it computerware, software, hardware, we also have dataware, we also have peopleware, we also have other programs, third-party programs, which are supporting the IT system in supporting the business. So there are many elements which are interrelated as one big set of system in completing the required job. As you can see in the next slide, functions of information system. Function of information system, as what we have seen earlier or discussed earlier, it has the three main activities: input, processing and output, and then there is a feedback from the output into the input for further improvement. And this IT system, which has these three main activities, are actually continuously communicating or in relationship with suppliers, customers, regulatory agencies, stockholders, competitors, and many other players in the environment that we have today. So this is what we call IT system, yeah, IT system. And I'm very sure you're part of this system. Maybe you are the suppliers, maybe you are the competitors, maybe you are the stockholders or RA, or even just ordinary users or expert users or decision makers or even customers. So you are also part of the environment. So this is what we call environment in today's uh, enterprise system or IT system, MIS system, in other words. So the system that we have today, as you can see, is more than computers. It's more than computers. It's not just the computers alone. Like I just mentioned, it has link or close relationship or directly link with organization, the business entity itself, management, the people, technology, various platform of technologies, and many more. Yeah, many more related component like we have seen earlier, the suppliers, the customers, the partners, and so on. Yeah, that is what we call IT system today. So we got to look at a big picture. Yeah, big picture. Next, let's look who are the people. Who are the people within this environment? Who are the people within this working with this IT system or involved directly or indirectly with the IT system? Uh, we have they have represented this in a hierarchical format in terms of authority and responsibility. Of course, it starts with senior management, our bosses, and then it goes down to middle management, operational management, knowledge workers, data workers, production or service workers. So we have users in every level. The senior management can be the users, can be the decision makers, can be the policy setters. The same goes to the middle management, operational managers, and anyone. So at all levels, there are users, yeah, and there are decision makers. There are so-called with certain authority, yeah, uh, which comes with their roles and responsibility. So these are the people who are the users of the IT system at all levels, at all levels, from the top to bottom. And I'm very sure you are, yeah, part of this one of this group. So this is a very common chart that we have seen, how the business organizations and its hierarchy. Of course, at the top is the senior management, smaller group, then we have a middle management, consists of the engineers, scientists and knowledge workers, technical workers, the specialists or the subject matter experts. And then we have the bottom part, the bigger part, the bigger portion consists of production and service workers, data entry clerk, data workers, and so on. So this is a common chart in any organization, and this is how they are related or they become the user of the information system. In terms of separation of business function, of course, we're going to look at by department, which is not new. We have sales and marketing, human resources, finance and accounting, manufacturing and production, and many other departments who are the users or who are the business function or departments in your company, which are either directly or indirectly having relationship with the IT system. In terms of management, senior management and middle management or line management, they are the managers. Normally will be involved in set organizational strategy for responding to business challenges. So they will be responsible in coming up with policies, standard operating procedures, best practices, following audit requirements, business requirements, and so on. Those are the responsibility of the managers. And what we will do is what the IT people or the IT personnel will do is trying to convert or trying to incorporate their requirement into IT system. So the IT system will have this organizational strategy in the format of SOP or in the format of procedures or steps that need to be carried out automatically or upon some feedback or input in order to generate output accordingly. In addition, managers must also got to be creative enough, make use of the IT system and its features and capabilities with the right skill of people in order to create new products and services. Yeah, to create new products and services, because the system is just a platform. For example, the system has features of creating new products. That means you can create any number of new products, various types of new products. Just matter of developing it, improving it, enhancing it. That can be done easily through the training of the people, upgrading the skill of the people involved, occasionally recreating the organization. So in today's world, if you see, we have created a lot of new jobs, new ways of doing things that we have never even thought about it or think about it a couple of years down the road previously. But today we are doing it everything through the smartphone, tablets, and so on, where our day-to-day activities can be done, by using any one of these so-called smart devices, not necessarily by having a laptop or desktop, but by just having a smartphone. So if you look at the technology that we have today, beside computer hardware and software, or the hardware and software implemented or installed in that particular device, rather than just specifically we refer to computers, there is a data management technology also built in. For example, your phone is smart enough to take in your voice data or your audio data or your video data, process it accordingly, and deliver to the destination or to the receiver accordingly. And all these are possible with the software, hardware, dataware, supported by the networking and telecommunication technology such as internet, intranet, extranet, websites, and so on. So all these are the detailed components of IT system, where we have IT infrastructure, which provides a platform that the system is built on, such as internet infrastructure, intranet infrastructure, extranet infrastructure, basically the network to send and receive data and information as per the requirement, right? So that is in terms of technology that is supporting the information system. Next in the slide, what you have is another interactive sessions with a series of questions related to the UPS global company. So as usual, please read through this, brainstorm and discuss with your friends, with your participants, other participants during the open discussion session in the last hour of this lecture. Moving on, looking at the UPS tracking system, in terms of organization, what UPS is doing basically is a logistic company, global logistic company, for sending and delivering packages. So this particular company will have procedures or what we call SOP, standard operating procedures, or best practices for tracking packages and managing inventory and provide information. So that is in terms of organizational job structure. That is the main purpose of this UPS company, which is supposed to track full details about the packages globally, whereas management involved in monitoring the service level and costing, right? That is their management top priority in terms of UPS tracking system. In terms of technology, of course, this UPS company will be using handheld devices or computers, scanners, barcode scanners, or 3D scanners, or all kind of scanners, depends on what they use, computers, any smart devices, in order to complete their jobs. So these are the dimensions of UPS tracking system. Definitely it comes with data or dataware, software, hardware, peopleware, security and control, and the skill of the people, in carrying out this job, trainings, suppliers, partners, and so on. So all these are the other components that will be working closely with this particular company in making sure that their business objectives are met. All right, next slide, what you have is basically business perspective on information system. As we know, IT system is so critical, and it is an instrument for creating value in that particular company. So investment in IT will result in superior returns. That is what is happening today, and we have many data and facts to help us to understand better. With the investment in IT, not necessarily it works all the time, but generally, or in many cases, the bigger the investment in IT, with the proper decision, right decision, with the support from the top management, with the properly trained people, committed people, it helps in productivity increases, revenue increases, and definitely it will be the long-term strategy for the company. Generally, unless wrong decision or no commitments or something else gone wrong, then the story will be different. Otherwise, this is what we believe in. Okay, I'm going to skip the next slide. We have discussed this many times, and also the same information is being presented to you in an infographic format, where you have on the left hand side data collection and how data is being stored, transformed into information, into business system, and how the data is, or the information is being distributed to all the business processes, which you can see on your right hand side, where you can see supply chain management, enterprise management, customer management, knowledge management, planning, commissioning, controlling, modeling, and decision making. So the information right now is being used by the business processes in meeting the business goal. As the end result, what we have is the firm profitability and strategic position based on how we manage, or how we collect, we transform the data, the raw facts, into meaningful data, analyzing it with the support of the IT system in achieving the goal of the business, which are, end of the day, we want to have better profitability and to survive, to be in the business for long term. Okay, in the next slide, what you have is basically productivity against the IT capital stock. It depends on the industry. Different industry, you might have slightly different what we call variation in return or ROI. But generally, what it tells you is the bigger the investment in IT, the more sophisticated automated system that you have implemented in the company, uh, the expectation is to have higher return, better productivity, better profitability, and sustainable. Yeah, that is the whole idea. Moving on, like what I mentioned earlier, investing in IT does not guarantee good returns, but generally, like what I have explained, yeah, that is the facts. But there are many challenges, limitation uh, to occur along this line, considering variation in uh, the needs of the business, in the return firms receiving from the system investment. Like what I mentioned earlier, as long as we make the right decision with the support from the top management, with the right people, uh, with the right skill, right timing, things will be better and as per the expectation or requirement. But if anything goes wrong along the way, we have for example not so good or not we are not getting any support from the management, top management, middle management. For example, there is a resistance in terms of changing from the old system into the new system. If there is a not motivated staff, for example, because generally people don't like change. It is a so-called risk, or they people used to be in a comfortable zone. Now you want them to change, right? So they won't like it. This is a general perception from the users or from the staff. So if anything goes wrong along the way, there is no guarantee that the investment will bring in good returns. But with the good support direction from the top management, middle management, things can go in a right direction. So the factors involved here is adapting to the right business model. The business model is very important. The culture, the direction, the support from the top management. If everything is in a positive manner, definitely you can see a good return. This is what we trust in, or the expectation is. So let's look at what it means by complementary asset. Yeah. Generally, we are looking at IT asset, including non-IT assets such as people, uh, uh, the partners, the customers, the suppliers, and so on. So assets are required to derive value from a primary investment. So like what I said earlier, IT investment is one thing, but if we don't get support from all these complementary asset or from the people who are working to make sure the system is fully implemented and working as per the requirement, definitely we need support from all the assets. We need good support from all the people who will be directly and indirectly involved in the system. So beside the technology, beside the software, hardware, definitely we need support from all these people. invest in technology and the people to make it work properly. So that's why the training department in any particular company is very important, need to play a very important role. So when there is a big change such as this, where we are introducing a new system, new ways of doing things, we are bringing in new software into the company, new technology into the company, we cannot simply ignore the trainings. People need to be educated, people need to be briefed, people need to be understood why, why we are doing that, why we are investing in that particular technology, what benefit the technology bring in, what are the good features, how it simplifies your work, how it helps you to upgrade yourself, to properly equip with new skills, for example. So people will be worried, because like what I said earlier, they are in a comfortable zone. So they will be worried what changes is going to bring to them. So the training department plays a very important role to make sure that these people understand and they accept it, they accept the new technology, new system, and how it's going to help them to do things better, right? So with that, the asset become important and the asset become part of the system. With that, there will be a better return on the investment. So in terms of complementary asset, let's look at the slightly the details. For example, in terms of organizational asset, we are looking at the business model itself. Of course, the old business model doesn't work anymore under the new system. So we got to look into the new business model, the details, the activities. Remember the input, the processing, the output, plus all the supporting steps and procedures and activities need to revisit and change according to the new system, to make sure all the business processes are efficient enough in bringing in more profitability and sustainability to the company. In terms of managerial asset, we need to make sure all the managers are properly trained, motivated, so that they can bring in more ideas and innovation into the companies, which I believe the new system is capable of. So it is just matter of the people need to get properly briefed, trained, and so that they can perform. Where they need to work in a teamwork and collaborative work environments in order to make it successful. So these are the responsibility of the managers. In terms of social asset, for example, the infrastructure, the internet, the telecommunication, the technology need to be reliable. Need to be reliable. So we don't want people to see complaints all the time. Internet is not available, the line is down, or the performance is slow. So the IT responsibility over here is to make sure the social assets are taken care, reliable, up and running for the users, business users, to carry out their jobs and their daily job to meet the business requirement. So when all these complementary asset works as per the requirement, as per the expectation, then we can see the good returns. Otherwise, definitely there will be a lot of challenges, issues and problems along the way. What you see in the next slide is contemporary approaches to information system, where you can see all the details in terms of technical approaches and behavioral approaches. In terms of technical, definitely it is very much on the IT team, in terms of management, science, computer science, operational research and so on. That is more to MIS. But in terms of psychology, economics, sociology of the staff, users, management, line managers and so on, it is more related or more will be depending on how motivated are they, how accepting are they toward the IT system, which we call behavioral approaches. So that's where the training department plays a very important role, where the training or the trainers need to fully train, understand the requirement of the new system, and then they are responsible in training, in providing training to all users, yeah, accordingly, so that they are will be, you know, so-called accepting the new system. And moving forward, definitely we are expecting a better approaches. Okay, moving on, we have discussed very much into what is IT system, the components of IT system, the good value with the IT system, how IT bringing in changes, good changes, and how IT system is affecting the return in terms of profitability and sustainability to the company. So we have seen many information, many slides on those areas, uh, and continue with, there are four main actors in terms of IT system, uh, not new as we have discussed. We have suppliers of hardware and software, one of the very critical actor, because nowadays many firms or companies are also opt for outsourcing instead of having their own internal IT department. They are outsourcing, they are going for an option to outsource the entire support from the IT system, for many reasons, yeah, for many reasons, which we are not going to discuss here. Of course, if you are interested, you can look at what are the benefits or what are the options, in terms of outsourcing the IT teams or the IT services rather than having it internally. Yeah, that is a separate topic, but if that happens, then definitely the supplier of hardware and software become very important, very critical. We need to manage them because they will be the third party, or outside partners for our company. And then we need to look at the business firm itself as another main actor. The managers and employees, the staff is another main actor in the IT system. And then we do have uh, other components or other assets such as the legal department, the social department, cultural contact, any other factors that will be directly or indirectly involved with the IT system. So all these assets, all these people, all these parties, we call it as the main actors as part of the IT system. In other words, the IT system become everything today. For example, just to name a few, in today's company, if the IT system is down, we will say, uh, when we have a situation where the system is down, the entire operation of the company is so-called down or not operating. That's how we are depending on the IT system in today's world compared to many years ago. So all these main actors and many more supporters become very critical in today's world, because the type of platform or system that we have today is fully digital. Yeah, fully digital. Okay, the last few slides, we're going to shortly talk about what we call socio-technical view. Yeah, remember, in one of the uh, component in learning objective today is to understand what is socio-technical view. So when we have this, what we call social and technical system, combine and use it in the production, for example, we call that socio-technical platforms or concept. Like what is happening today, we have all the social media platform, and then on the other side we have all the high level advanced technology when we use both appropriately, we can operate the business accordingly, and then we can expect good return on the investment. So that's why the socio-technical view is so critical, so important in today's business. So it is actually the way we do or we run the new business using this socio-technical view. In the next slide, what you can see is you have the technology on one side, and then you have the organization, the firm on the other side. So from the technology, what we can expect is we can look at all the different technology option or different platform that the technology provides for the business. And on the organization side, we can look at all the different design option or alternative methods or ways of doing things that we can propose. So we need to compare the two, and then we can see how we can make use of these two, the benefits from the technology and the benefits or the good points from the business requirement in order to achieve the business goal. So when we combine these two with the right people, with the right skill, with the right decision, like what I used to mention all this while, then we can expect good return from the business. Okay, so with that, I believe I have covered all the slide